In my video, The Mannequin People, I described some very weird cases in which people claim they encountered people driving cars who appeared to have no faces. While that may seem strange, what are those cases in which a car is seen being driven by itself, either by an invisible entity, a ghost, or possibly something else? Maybe the car itself was haunted. Around 1999, over a decade before autonomous or self-driving cars were allowed to be driven on public streets, a woman named Andrea, who was, at the time, around 10 years old, recalls something bizarre she and her family observed while driving on Highway 58 in Tennessee. Her sighting matches various other reports from around the world in which a car is seen to drive by itself, sometimes only to disappear into nothing in front of stunned onlookers. Cases involving ghost cars, ghost buses, ghost planes, ghost ships, and even ghost carriages have been cataloged by the hundreds by paranormal researchers over the years. According to Andrea, she, her sister, and her father were out driving, heading to a store. They were about 2 miles away from Booker T. Washington State Park, a 353-acre park situated on the shores of Chickamauga Lake. Andrea recalled that she had been down that road numerous times, and she was quite bored, not really paying much attention. I was minding my own business until I heard my sister scream. Me and my dad both jumped in our seat. I thought she was hurt, but she wasn't hurt. She was just shocked. Then I heard her say, "That car has no one in it." I looked up and, sure enough, I didn't see anyone in there. It went by really quick, but as far as I could tell, no people were in there. Andrea claims that they were about to pass under a bridge, and the car was coming from an exit ramp that went off the bridge. It had to come down and merge right next to us. That's one reason why it was so weird. It merged past us, so we were pretty close. The driver's window of that car was directly to the right of my sister's window. It was about eye level because it was a low car, and ours was a low car too. So if there was a person in it, how would you not see them? Andrea claims the car was a light blue 1970 Lincoln Continental Mark III. To her, it looked a little old and rough. She claims that the car, despite having no driver, seemed quite controlled, and it continued on down the highway like normal. No doubt people offered their own take on the matter after she posted her story on YourGhostStories.com. Some believe that the car may have been remote controlled, something that would have been costly, and given the insurance risks involved, if an accident were to occur, it's probably not very likely. Others suggest that the car was being driven by someone tiny, and she just couldn't see the person. Andrea doubted this. I've wondered before if someone was just ducked down, but I realized there wasn't much chance of that. It was a tight squeeze between us and that car as we merged. If they were ducked down picking something up, not looking at the road, I don't think it would have been possible to merge past as well as it did. It seemed too smooth for someone who was being stupid and not looking at the road. If it somehow was that is one talented person who merges without looking. By everything I could tell, it sure seemed like a ghost or some other paranormal event that I don't understand. Andrea is certain the event occurred, adding, "I was young, but I don't think that makes it less valid. I was probably 10 years old, so I knew what was real and what wasn't. Plus, there were 2 witnesses to this story, and that shows something was up. It still gives me chills." Ultimately, Andrea was left to wonder what she saw that day. Can a ghost drive a car? Can a thing with no physical body move a physical object? Or is it another supernatural thing that would move a car? As far as I know, me and this thing just happened to pass each other. I'm baffled. What could it have been? Interestingly, Andrea's story led to another person, someone calling themselves Sakul, who commented on how they too had seen a strange driverless car on Highway 58 not far from Booker T. State Park. In her original post, Andrea did not indicate the exact location. Sakul wrote, "When I was a child, I too saw a car around that area of Highway 58 with no driver. I never thought much of it until reading your story. The author claims that, at the time, they merely wrote it off as a prank or something normal, like a short person. However, in light of Andrea's story, they had begun to reconsider. I'm not sure what it is, but I can certainly confirm your story. So what is it? A haunted car? Not unlike the one depicted in the film adapted from the Stephen King classic horror novel Christine? Or was the car being driven by a ghost or some other type of invisible entity? Or was it just an elaborate prank? Possibly a remote-controlled car designed to frighten people driving on Highway 58. While such pranks are commonplace nowadays, what with YouTube and various other video outlets, in 1999, what purpose would such a prank serve? For me, the most obvious answer would be that the car was being driven by a short person using mirrors to navigate. However, Andrea is quite certain that is not the case, as she had a pretty clear view inside the vehicle and could see nobody in the driver's seat. Ultimately, whatever Andrea and her family observed on that day, it's definitely weird.